Fenerbahçe Basketbol Müzesi'nden merhaba. Fenerbahçe Beko 2024 yılında Final Four'a kaldı ve Berlin seyahati öncesinde artık klasikleşen Final Four röportajlarımızdan birini yapıyoruz. Koç Sarunas Jasikevicius bugün konuğumuz. Hello coach, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for accepting our interview request in this crazy schedule, coach. This is important for us. So, first of all, how do you feel about going to Berlin?
Good, obviously, you kind of leave it for your wife and your, closest family to deal with all the tickets, to deal with all the other stuff. She's an expert in this already, and myself just trying to focus on my job, just trying to focus on resting. A little bit disconnect as much as possible, and now. Today, actually, which is Monday, we start the preparation a little bit for Panathinaikos, mainly thinking about ourselves still.
So what was your plan starting this season? Did you expect to go to Berlin as a head coach of a Final Four team?
Well, that's for sure not. I didn't expect to go to Berlin at all this year. Ended up going twice, which is really a positive thing. Obviously, Final Four being there. I expected to travel the world, spend time with the family. Help my wife to walk the dog in the house and everything. Crazy as it sounds, I was actually enjoying walking the dog, and then obviously Daria called, and it really changed a lot of things. Like I said, really unexpectedly, a lot of plans already for seeing the world and enjoying and disconnecting. But you make plans, God is laughing.
What happened to those tickets that you bought for your spare time?
Well, I think some of the holidays we are using with the closest family. Some holidays we lost. Obviously, probably need to ask Fenerbahçe to pay for that also.
So, coach, getting the call from Fenerbahçe, you have a history here, and you were a player here. And in this museum, I see that two of your trophies that you won with the player. How did it feel? Because there was a contact before in previous years after when Željko Obradović left. So there was a contact, but so the destiny brought us here during the December.
I don't know. The contact is very quick. Usually in those situations, in the middle of a season, everything happens very, very quickly. It's totally unexpected. You have to make decisions very fast. Like I said, I have a history with Fener, even though it's a very short one, of 6 months, and knew exactly what to expect and so on. And then after it happens, you don't think about many other things. You don't think about this bigger picture. You're just trying to concentrate on next practice, next game, and just deal with the issues that they coming by.
You came here, you saw this museum, and a lot of things have changed in Fenerbahçe. What's the main difference do you see? So, is it going better or worse?
I think it's obviously that since my years here as a player, it's Fenerbahçe is taking the much bigger steps. It's elite of European basketball. It's every year the team fighting for the Final Four. The expectations are there. Back when I was a player, it was just forming of the club, together with Ulker and these situations. Yes, you can tell the fan base is there, that the people do like basketball over here. They are crazy about EuroLeague basketball. Always selling out. We were selling out. So now then there when we were playing, atmosphere was fantastic. But I think now everything is already taking steps further. Fenerbahçe is even bigger right now and more identified with the basketball department.
Did you like the museum?
Yes, it's fantastic. I don't think very few teams have this type of museum. It's a great space. It's a great setup. We just need to try to put more stuff in it.
That's important. How hard was it for you to take over a team during the season?
It was very difficult. At the same time, you don't really try to put unrealistic expectations. Maybe one small detail a day. This is what was the goal, and like I said, I did inherit the team that was extremely well coached. I inherited the team that's full of veteran players who've seen all kinds of coaches like me, all kinds of systems, defensively, offensively. So these guys, they know how to deal with it.
and some of the players were your former players, so like Nigel Davis in your two previous teams, Nick Kalatis, Sertaç Şanlı. So, and you started, in your very first game, you started three of them too. So like, was it to get more communication easily? You know,
No,
like,
I think it was exactly the reason, because they know me and they know what to expect from me. These guys were the reason I took this job, you know, mainly because you understand that they were going to guide you through the beginning, through the difficult moments, because they knew exactly more or less, let's say, my philosophy. I know them. And the other stuff, you know, a lot of times when you come to the new team, you don't have the luxury of having three players that know you perfectly. So it was a big plus for me.
You came here, Nick Kalatis was here. Nick Kalatis, previously he had some quotes on the press about how he wants to play more with more freedom, and after Barcelona days, and then he came here. You came here, and what was the first communication with him? Obviously it went really well because he played great and you coached him great.
There was no need for communication. I think the players and coaches are the same breed, you know. They are people. The coaches always want players from the other team. The players want to be, you know, something different than what they have. You know, he wanted to play maybe with more freedom. It was maybe something he said, that you don't have to be sensitive about these type of things and just go on. You know, now he embraces playing the same system. You know, basically the same idea of basketball. And so, you know, it's always going to be this thing of the grass is always greener on the other side, but you know, I felt immediately from the moment that came in that they embraced again playing the, you know, let's say a little bit more controlled basketball that I do, or whatever. But you know, over the years also we are evolving, you know, as people. So I'm evolving as a coach, probably he's evolving as a player. And it was really no need for any kind of extra communication.
This evolution that we'll have to talk about more, because we saw Nigel Davis scoring 50 points, and which is a huge evolution because he was seen as the glue guy in a team, a blue-collar guy in a team, and he scored 50. And at the beginning of the season, let's say, you know, if you make a guess who will break the scoring record in the EuroLeague, I think he wouldn't be in top 20 in the guesses. So, how is this evolution?
No, I think you know, he's becoming more and more important every day, and exactly like you said, you kind of envision Nigel maybe the guy with a triple-double or something like this, because he's an overall player. He's not exactly a scorer. Obviously, he can score the ball, and there's going to be easily where some games he will score 20 points. 50 was crazy. I mean, the whole night was everything crazy about it, and then ultimately, you know, we tried for him to get that record, and I'm just very happy that he has it now, you know, as a Fenerbahçe player.
Why is it, do you think it's easier than your playing time to score 30s, 40s, 50s?
Oh no, not in European basketball. It seems like, you know, every year is just more and more difficult. Even though we do try to play faster, you know, we try to increase the number of the possessions. We have the team for that, but you know, European basketball, it's always going to be like this. I mean, I don't envision it changing a lot. It's a struggle. It's a struggle for every centimeter on the court. Everything is so difficult. The teams are so prepared, making it difficult for you that it's not easy to play EuroLeague basketball.
Talking about the evolution, as a coach, you're a detail-oriented coach. It's easy to say that, seeing your previous Final Four teams. But this team has an incredibly high pace. When you run, you know, it comes easily. You score 100 points. You break a lot of offensive records with Fenerbahçe. Too many three-point shots, and then it seems like you're loosening up the stuff on the team too. Being a detail-oriented and having the fastest pace is very rare in the history of basketball at the same time. So do you think your coaching or your team is going to that place? I'm
not sure, but I know that the practices and the mentality that I had in the last years in Barcelona and Žalgiris were always the same. We were very similar in our approach in practices. I was always practicing a lot of fast break drills. It was constantly there. You know, sometimes we would take it out and run in Barcelona, but for some reason not always. I believe that here we are running a little bit more consistently. So, you know, a lot of it is about the players. You know, are they willing to go up and down? Are they physically ready? You know, this is the most important part. You know, how the players can put in your ideas on the court.
But looking at the previous teams that you brought to Final Four, let's say in Žalgiris, you had a lot of off-screen sets for Arturas Milaknis. And then in Barcelona, you had the same with Alex Abrines. And in Žalgiris, you had a lot of post-up game, even for Vasa Micic, Nigel, Yankunas. So great post-up versatility. And in Barcelona also you had for Mirotic and for different other players. And pick and roll game with Lapro. And it's very strange that in this roster, you don't have a shooting specialist as like Milaknis, let's say. You don't have a half court, mostly your post-up game comes in the early offense with Jonathan Motley, Nigel Hayes. What's the main difference and how could you manage to make this team, to take this team to Final Four?
The main difference is the players, the main difference is the players. They are different players, therefore it has to be changed, the style of basketball. We always say about adapting to your players, they are the most important. So, a little bit more isolations, with Tyler Dorsey, with Scotty Wilbekin, Marco is this type of situation. So basically you just try to adjust, and basically that's it.
So as a coach, you adapt to the players in this situation.
I think it cannot be any other way around. Mainly, I have to adjust to my players. But okay, then there is philosophy part where, the players have to adapt to us, and I'm here is no different than any other coach. You still try to defend the best way possible, score the most points, and try to play as a team. But at the same time, these are all cliches that, you have to fight for every day.
To evaluate you, I was always expecting for you to have one summer with the team to create your own roster and then to see what the team is going on. But now you're in the Final Four, and do you think it raised the bar so high that, for
Well, there's no way hiding it, immediately we go into the Final Four, but at the same time, these are the expectations in Fenerbahçe, It doesn't mean that it's easy, it doesn't mean that you will do it every year, but, this is the reality. I think as a coach, I'm fortunate enough to work for the club that the bar is so high. Did we raise the bar? It's not really important. The bar is what we set for ourselves. Everyday work, everyday expectations, come and being professionals. And then if things don't work out, well, at least we did our best.
Winning is one thing, but also creating a philosophy on the court is another one. What's your dream basketball team? What's your dream to
Oh, the dream basketball for every coach, I think, is incredible defense, where you can hold the team on 30, 40 points. This is what we dream about when we go to bed, and to pressure and to steal the balls and to go score 100 points in the other end. But, it's not going to happen. The opponents are also very good, and especially in European basketball, everything is so equalized, and every detail is becoming the most important things. You decide the games by, wrongly made foul, by one box out, So the dream is there, but most likely it's just a pipe dream,
But you started talking about your dream, you started with defense. And mostly on defense, we saw you that you had a lot of switching teams in your previous clubs that you brought to Final Four. In Fenerbahçe, switchability of this roster is not easy, it's not too much. So how did you manage to do that?
No, it's an extremely versatile roster, you can switch, you can switch with Papagiannis, with Motley, Nigel Hayes 5, it's there, all the abilities to change the defenses, and you just need to react, When we came here, our rebounding numbers were extremely bad, so we didn't want exactly switch and then get hurt on the rebounding. So you kind of take the team, you see what the problems are and try to deal with the problems.
What about that small ball rotation that you had during Monaco series, especially in first game after Sertac had the foul trouble, and you saw that immediately you went back to that small lineup, and then it really worked well.
Yeah, I think we already played with it in Turkish league. We already played with it in some other games. I think also it was some combination of not having Motley and the other guys maybe not having their best day at that day. So. It's a little bit was forced, but obviously we have this option.
How dramatic was the series, Coach?
Yeah, I think it was crazy. I don't know, nobody talks about it, but it was the series where, we won the game 3 here by 7 or 8 points, and then the other ones literally went to the last possession. So it was crazy, games. 2 overtimes game, and yeah, we were fortunate enough to come out. I thought that we had the opportunities to take really control of the series in game 2. We had our opportunities to win here in game 4. The ball didn't bounce our way, and then the ball bounced our way in game 5.
Well, what went through your mind when Nick was shooting those 3-pointers?
Nothing really goes through your mind, you know. You're just looking to get a good shot. I mean, Nick had his feet set. I mean, his percentages, by the way, are very high when he gets his feet set. You know, and at this point, both teams were really struggling to get an open shot. So it was really, you know, not so bad options. And like I said, the ball could have bounced either way. I mean, we must be honest about this.
As a coach, you brought 3 different clubs to the Final Fours. What was the main similarity of those 3 teams that you brought to the Final Four?
Very difficult to say. It's all different players, you know. In Žalgiris, you're just so, you know, overwhelmed about the fact is that you have a chance to compete in the playoffs. We knew that we were coming in a good moment. Olympiacos was not in the best moment. You know, Barcelona, a little bit like Fenerbahçe, you know, you expect to be in the Final Four, and as bad as it sounds, you know. And, you know, I'm not sure exactly what was it. It's different situations, but, you know, without the players who are ready to sacrifice, you know, their own stuff for the good of the team, it's very difficult to get there.
Now you have Panathinaikos on Final Four, which is your... As a player, you're a legend of this club. So, what do you expect from the matchup in the Final Four?
I mean, it's a Final Four. It's difficult. It's going to be difficult. There's no secret to that. I mean, the typical Ergin Ataman team, you know, heavy pick and roll with the guards, and all the decisions is in their hands. So, you know, the concentration obviously will be there, but, you know, you cannot forget the other players. And like we said, I believe us and Panathinaikos are very equally matched teams, that you have to constantly talk about details and little things, and how to steal one ball there, how to not to give up one easy bucket over there. And it's just, you know, it's Final Four. It's supposed to be difficult.
And the atmosphere?
I don't know how the atmosphere will be. I mean, I have experience with 2009 with 2 Greek teams there, you know, and now you're adding Fenerbahçe. I think it's crazy. I think it's going to be crazy, but at the same time, you know, we cannot think too much. We have a job to do, you know, on the court.
You mentioned that 2009 team, and you had Dimitris Diamantidis, yourself, and Vasilis Spanoulis at the same roster, and you had Drew Nicholas and other also creators in that team. Why don't we have a lot of those names, those type of guards in today's basketball?
Well, we do, I think, but some of them, you know, already in the NBA, it's more difficult to keep the players. You know, financial difference between the EuroLeague and the NBA is getting bigger. So it's not easy, but, you know, this will always be remembered as, you know, glory years.
As a parent of a young basketballer, why do you think it's not, you know, why do you think there are not a lot of names coming up from the...
I think they are coming up. I think they are coming up.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think they, you know, NBA is taking some of them, you know, and I don't know.
But not a lot of old school point guards like let's say Kalatis here.
Yeah, I think in general this idea of the point guards is disappearing. You know, the classic point guards. Now the point guards really also, they dominate the ball a lot. They want to score, you know, 20 points. Yeah, you know, this was 50 years ago. That point guard was so classical stuff, you know, bringing you into the offense, creating for others. Now point guards immediately put pressure on you by being able to score by the 3-point shots in transition. It's more difficult to guard this way, there's no question. Talking
about NBA, there are no boundaries in the basketball anymore now. The NCAA is coming in. And also in Turkish league, there's a new rule starting from the next year that you will have 7 foreigners on the roster, but you have to have 1 Turkish player on the court. What's your opinion about this rule?
Well, I think, you know, the rule with limitations, whether it was in Turkey, Russia, Israel, some countries who did, you know, they tried to help their national team, but it actually backfired. It was going opposite, you know, it never really helped any national team too much or anything. You know, the Turkish league will be better, you know, with 7 foreigners, and listen, it will change a little bit stuff, some tactical strategizing, how you run your team. But I think in general, we need to be honest that this, you know, local player rule and limitations of some countries even having 2 players on the court at sometimes was never really working. Was never really working. So
why do you think is the reason it's not working?
I think maybe it makes the local players in every country not to be able to fight for themselves, not to be able forced to give your own because you already have guaranteed spot. And this is not the way, The most important is and the best in every person, not just basketball players. When you need to give your best, when you fight, for yourself, and may the best one come out on top.
Coming here, you already created Emre Ekşioğlu as a rotation player in Turkish League and the Turkish Cup roster, and then he was the starter. And then Ömer Ege Ziyaettin, who was 15 years old when you put him on the court. So what's your approach to these local players?
Well, I mean, we have to respect ourselves first, and Fenerbahçe has an academy, and there's kids who, looking up to these players in the first team, and this is their dream. So, we have to give them every opportunity. I believe the local players are the most important, must be for every club, for every country. But at the same time, they have to put out the project. Fenerbahçe is at incredible level, and they have to be good enough to play at this incredible level.
Okay. Any message to your fans, Coach?
Oh, I'm just very grateful to have this support, and really, hopefully, they continue like this. And right now, it's very easy to be a Fenerbahçe basketball fan. I think the sign of the true fans is how they support you in a difficult moment. So, difficult moments will come sooner or later, and we need to be together, united as always. And as far as Berlin goes, I just hope to see a lot of yellow over there.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Bugünlük röportajımız bu kadardı. Bir sonraki Final Four'da görüşmek üzere efendim. Hoşçakalın.